Hey, Happy New Year. In this video, I wanted to share with you my reading goals for 2025. So last year, I kind of did a soft start to my book girly journey. I shared a little bit about it here on this channel, and I'm going to share with you the books that I read last year, kind of where I've landed as far as like how I want to incorporate reading into my life. And then kind of my goals for 2025 and beyond. So this is not necessarily going to turn into like a booktube channel, but for those of you who have an interest in reading, I will be sharing updates, here and there. So let's talk about it. Last year, so I would say, I talked about this before in one of my other bookish videos, but my reading journey actually started in 2023. And I was on vacation with my mom, and I decided to bring the book 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. Knew nothing about it. It sounded good. I was like, great. I read that book in one sitting, in one day, like from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I ate it up. And I was like, am I a book girly now? Like what exactly is happening here? And so I enjoyed it so much that I was like, am I a book girly now? And let me clarify, because I talked about how like I hadn't read books since I was in college, and that's not entirely true. I hadn't read fiction. I have a ton of like personal development, business, self-improvement, self-help books that I have read over the years. And that's not even including all the audio books that I listen to on Audible. So I had a semi-reading habit, but it was more so like for personal growth and development. And I hadn't embraced reading for recreation until I read 7 Days in June. So fast forward from October 2023 to the summer of 2024. And I was like, I just want to become a book girly. It was more than just, I want to start reading. It was like, I want this to be a part of my lifestyle. That felt so good to me. That experience that I had in October of 2023 when I was on vacation, that I was like, I want to have that experience more often, and I want to bring that into my life. So I started reading last year. Now, I will say that I only read 9 books last year, and I will say this: 8 fiction, 1 self-help, right? And here's the thing though, I actually don't feel that bad about it, because I had 0 reading goals. I didn't start reading till like late into the summer. And that is when I decided. And so to read 8 fiction books when I hadn't read fiction in years, to me, I was very proud of myself. So I want to kind of go over the 8 books that I read last year. 3 of them I don't have. 1 is because it's lent out to a friend, and I don't know if I'm ever going to see it again. And 2 of them, and I'll flash their cover up on the screen, and 2 of them, it's because I checked those out from the library. Y'all, I've even gotten on Goodreads. Can you believe this? So the first book that I started with was A Low Country Bride. And so I had picked this up at, I believe, Half Price Books, and it was cute. It was like my first, okay, I am officially a part of the book world. It was cute. And I will say this, the more I read, even though, like I said, I only read 8 fiction books and 1 nonfiction last year, I am getting more clear about what it is that I like. Well, this is a cute little romance. And I will say this, what I am gravitating towards is Black romance novels, specifically light and fluffy. Like, I'm not ready to be like crying over people in a book yet. I'm not ready for the like deep, heartfelt. I'm not there yet. I think I'm gonna get there. I'm not there yet, right? So I really want to read Kennedy Ryan, but I'm also not trying to get my heart, broken and torn out my chest, okay? And so I'm like, I've got her saved on my TBR and all of her books, but I'm in light and fluffy. You're gonna see from these books, it's all about light and fluffy. So then I went to the library. Oh, and I picked up another book from Half Price Books that I don't have. This is the one that's on loan. It's called The Referral Program. And let me tell you what this book is about. So this book is basically about, let me see if I can remember. It's a woman, and she's originally from the South. She lives up north. She had to come back to take care of some family members. She ends up working in a shop with a guy. The guy owns the shop. you know what happens from there. And this book has zero spice. Okay, this book has zero, like zero. I don't even know if they kiss in this book. Okay, zero spice, right? Then I picked up the referral program, and that's on loan to a friend. And that book, I liked it, but it had a lot of characters because there were three friends, and the whole premise of the book was that each one of the friends, like they were tired, they were all single, they were all tired of doing online dating, and so they were like, we're each going to take two of our platonic male friends or family members and set the other two friends up. So each woman had four men to date. So three women, and then each one of them had four men. It was a lot of characters. It was cute though. I liked it, and those were the first two books that kind of dipped my toe back in the pool. There's a sprinkling of spice in there, but not a lot. Then I read By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. Super cute. And it's funny because I didn't realize when I was reading it that it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I was like, and then when somebody was talking about it months later in their review, I was like, it is, but it's really, really cute. So the premise of the story is, the female main character works for a publishing company, and she's really trying to get her career off the ground. And so, like, despite her best efforts, the career is not moving. So they have this author who's under contract, but he has not been submitting a draft. He hasn't submitted pages. He hasn't been doing anything. He's like this celebrity bad boy. He's supposed to be submitting his memoir, and he, like, nobody can get him on the phone. Like, he's just like, I took the money and whatever. So she's like, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. To get promoted and to really get my career on track, I'm going to force this man to write this memoir. So she basically raises her hand and was like, I can get this man to sign this memoir. So she goes out to California where he is and is like, hey, listen, I don't really know what's going on with you, but my career's on the line, and I really need you to get this book going. We done already paid you the money, get your life together. And she was like, I'm willing to do anything. And he's like, anything? He was like, bet, stay here and help me write it. So that's kind of the premise of the book. Super cute. I love the ending and what's shared at the ending. So if you've read that book, there's some things that are shared at the end that I just love. Had me thinking about it for days. That too is a book with zero spice, right? I think, listen, y'all, I'm learning the book girl lingo. I think they call it like closed door spice, where it's like they allude to it, but then it's like, and then the next morning, whereas in this one, like I said, I don't even know if they shook each other's hand. Okay. So those were, so after By the Book, then I read The Kiss Countdown by Etta Easton. Y'all, it was so cute. It was so cute. So boom, she's an event planner, right? Or trying to get her event planning business off the ground. The business is not businessing, okay? And she's at this cafe, and she runs into her ex, and she's just like, I cannot let this man see me struggling. I'm just not gonna do it. So she bumps into this guy accidentally, and spills, her drink on him or whatever. But because they already had the encounter, she immediately pretends like this is her man, right? And he's an astronaut, okay? He's an astronaut in Houston. I love it. Come on, astronaut. Get it, Kiss Countdown. And so basically, she's like, thanks for saving, for playing along or whatever. And he was like, actually, since we just did that, could you also play along with me, with my family, because they really are riding me and get on my nerves about having somebody for this event, and like, we could do that. Make a long story short, forced proximity, fake dating. It was super, super cute. I loved it. And there is that author, Etta Easton, has a book coming out this year. I forgot what it's called. Anyway, if I can find the cover of it, I will post it in here. So now let's get to the next 4 books that I read. So that's halfway through. Well, let me say this. Let me do a brief intervention and share with you the one nonfiction book that I read this year, and it was The Artist's Way. Let me tell you what's funny. And this is for my content creators out there. I want you to know that if you do a video and you're going to do a negative review, you should probably still put your affiliate links in the description box, because the thing that made me buy this book was a girl who did a review on it who hated it. She hated it. Okay. What's funny about that is, though, and so her review made me buy the book. What's funny about it is because everything that she hated about it was what I was looking for, right? And so as you can see, it's tabbed up. I have like highlighted in here, and I'm going to read it again this year and like actually go through the activities. So this is really, really good. I know this was popular online a couple of years ago, but that book is like 30 some years old. It doesn't matter. It was still fantastic. Okay, so now let's get into the other 4 books that I read last year. Y'all, let me tell you. This book right here might have been my favorite book of last year. I am a bit of a curvy girl, okay? I mean, I guess I'm average American size according to whatever. But anyway, this book, it's super cute. It's funny. The dialogue and the back and forth between the female male character and the main male character, I love it. So the premise of the story is she is a plus size queen we love. And she is like, her family is just like on her about like, you're getting older, you need to get a man, whatever. And she's like, I don't need y'all to help me find a man. I don't have no problem pulling a man. If I want to pull a man, I can pull a man. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, I need to have somebody by my birthday, like just to get my family off my back. So she decides to start getting on dating apps and having all these, she's like trying to get through this summer, right? And so basically she's like, you know what, to make it easy for me, I'm just going to go to this same bar at the same place for all my first dates, because that way, and it's not too far from where I live, I can be safe, it makes it easy, XYZ. So she starts going on all these dates, and the bartender there kind of notices, and he's like, hey, like what exactly is going on here? I kind of see you here, like, every Friday. What's the deal? And so she kind of explains to him like, you're trying to meet people, whatever. And he's like, I tell you what, since I'm going to be here all the time anyway, let me just look out for you in case, some of these men are kind of sketch or whatever. So you already know how the story goes. And so she starts dating these men. And these are some characters, okay? Some of the dates are like crazy stuff pops off or whatever. And so, but of course, in between the days, whether she gets there early or after the date or whatever, she's conversing with the bartender who happens to also own the bar that she's going to. And, next thing you know, spicy. Okay. This book starts off with a spice scene. I'm just going to say right now. And then there are some spice scenes toward the end. This is probably the spiciest book I read all year. I've only read 8 fiction novels, so I can't say like on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 how spicy, but out of everything I'm going to share with you, it has the most spice. I will say that. It's like 3 different spice scenes. Okay. So, The Neighbor Favor, y'all. I love this book too. It was so cute. Okay, so, and I'm realizing I love bookish books, meaning where the people in the characters in the book somehow work in the book world. And let me tell you the reason why I think I like it. Because I think it's an area where the authors know it really intimately. And even though they could know something else intimately or they can research it, I just feel like the 2 books that I've read this year where by the book, and then also where they are authors, and also 7 Days in June, they were bookish people, right? They were 2 authors in there. I just feel like it just gives another level of authenticity, if you know what I'm saying. So the premise of this story is she works in a publishing company and he's an author. Now, unbeknownst to her, okay, he's her favorite author. She's never met him. He wrote this phenomenal book that like changed her life. It's her favorite book of all time, XYZ. And he has no online presence. He's like anti-social media. He has a website. Somehow she figures out, she emails him. They start a pen pal relationship, right? And what's great is in the beginning of the book, you actually get to read the email exchanges that they're having. So it drops you right in. Like you're sucked into their exchange, their dynamic from the beginning. And so you can tell when the conversation kind of turns from like fan of an author, admirer of his work, to like they're kind of feeling each other. And then one day this man just ghosts her. He just completely ghosts her, right? He come to find out he ends up moving to the city that she's in and to the apartment building that she lives in, but he doesn't know that she lives there, right? And so they meet. She doesn't know it's him, and he doesn't know it's her, right? And then he realizes after a while, like, oh my God, this is the woman that I was like emailing back and forth with. And so he's like, do I tell her? Do I not? Or whatever. It's this whole long thing. He could tell that she's kind of like disappointed and heartbroken over what happened with the guy via email. And then it goes from there. What I love about this is that she has two sisters. And there's a second book that I actually have. Okay. We're going to talk about that in a second. There's a second book, and it follows one of the sisters. And then there's a third book that's coming out this year for the third sister. So it's a whole, okay, The Neighbor Favor, okay, by Christina Forrest. Super, super cute. Okay. Then the next book I read is Drunk on Love by Jasmine Guillory. So this is the second Jasmine Guillory book, English, that I read this year. I loved this. Oh, let me say this. Neighbor Favor, I don't think it has any spice, or if it does, it's like very, very minimal. Very minimal. Drunk on Love, I love this. It's a winery owner. So premise is she's a busy co-owner of a winery, and she doesn't have much time for a social life or love life. You know, her homegirl's always trying to hook her up. Anyway, she meets this man who is just fine. Okay, just fine as the day is long. And she decides, you know what? YOLO, you only live once. They have a little steamy, you know what I'm saying, exchange one night. And she feels like, you know what? It's so out of character for me. But I did it. I don't regret it, whatever. He ends up at the winery. That's about all I'm going to tell you. Is there spice? They're having all the sex, okay? It's not overly descriptive, but they are having all the sex, okay? It's not erotica. It's not even close, right? I would say this. Curvy Girl Summer is much more descriptive when it comes to the spice than this book. I really, really enjoyed this book, but okay. Then the last book I read is called Fake It Till You Bake It. Now, you know, as a chef, particularly as a pastry chef, I wanted to read this, and it's just so cute. So the premise of this is he is a football player who happens to own a bakery, and she is a social media influencer, reality TV star. And basically this is like a fake dating, forced proximity situation. They end up meeting each other. There's some connections there. I don't want to spoil it. And basically, you know, his bakery is really kind of struggling, and she's got all this like social media pull. So they realize, you know what, it might not be a bad idea if we fake date, because the sales is really hitting the sales, and she's got her own motivations and things like that. So as in typical fake dating, you already know it starts off fake and then it's not fake. Okay. So this is super cute. Very little spice. I think there's like 2 pages of a spice scene, if that, right? Fake It Till You Bake It, which also has, so there's 3 owners that work for, that are on the football team, and 3 co-owners, and the other 2, one of them, I already have his book, right? So this is book 1 in the series, and I already have his book. So those are the books that I read in 2024. And I have already started a new book for this year. And my goal this year, as far as reading, is I would like to read 52, so 1 book a week, 52 fiction books. And the reason why 52 from 9 books doesn't seem like an aggressive jump is a lot of these books I finished in 2 days. right? One, I just was eating them up, but 3 days maximum. And so I'm like, that's one a week. So even if I'm not reading every single day, I know I can hit that goal. So the book that I've recently started, and I am on chapter 9, is it matches my dress. Pardon My Frenchie. This is by Farah Roshan. I have not finished it. I'm on chapter 9, but the premise of this is that the female main character here, owns a doggy daycare called Barkingham Palace. I know, right? He's just doing all this. He is newly retired military, and he's got to watch a dog that he's not super with. Like, he's not really a dog person. Obviously, she's very much a dog person because she owns this doggy daycare. And the dog that he has to be caretaker of and her dog, like, are like in love. The dogs are like best friends in love, okay? And so obviously the two dogs bring them together, and there's some other stuff going on here. It's giving enemies to lovers. As so far, I will say, I had to start this book twice. It's kind of a thick one. I'm only on chapter 9, and I feel like I already know what's going to happen. Like, it's romance. I already know what the ending's going to be, but like, I feel like I already know how they're going to get here. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, I already, like, even in the early chapters, I already was like, oh, I already kind of see how this is going to go. I already know what the conflict's going to be, like, very early on. It is starting off a bit slow, but I may change my mind once I get into it. Like I said, I'm only 9 chapters in. How many chapters are there? There are 38. So, short chapters, just a lot of them. But I'm starting there. And like I told you before, The Neighbor Favor has a second book, and that is called The Partner Plot. Okay, so this is one of the sisters of the female main character from this book. Okay, so that's already on my TBR. And then also, like I said, I read Fake It Till You Bake It. And so the second book in that series is A Legend in the Baking. And this is about another one of the owners of the bakery, another football player, and the sister of the male main character. So his homeboy and his teammate and his co-owner, sister. And this job, in this book, there's a part in here that alludes to this book very subtly. If you catch it, if you've read this and you know what I'm talking about, it's subtle, right? And then there's another part, like in the epilogue, that just lands you right where this book is probably going to start. So those are the 3 books on my TBR for January. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some more books. And y'all, I became such a book girly. I'm on Goodreads. What? Some people tell me I should be on Storygraph. I just imported like 281 books to be on my TBR on Goodreads. I don't know what's going on between Goodreads and Storygraph. I don't know. I'm so new to the book world. So if it's some drama there, I don't know. But I like tracking it on there and doing my updates. So I'm on Goodreads. I will leave a link to my Goodreads down below so you can see what's on my TBR. You can also follow along with me on my 2025 book goals. And let me know down below, 1, have you read any of these books? 2, do you have any book goals for this year? Are you on Goodreads? And let me know your thoughts. Oh, this book also has a sequel that I think is already out. I think it came out in 2024 because I think this book was either 2022 or 2023. And I'm not sure if I want to read it. You know, like, I have a book on my bookshelf called The Davenports, and a sequel to that came out, and I'm not sure if I want to read it because when I bought the book The Davenports, I didn't realize that it was young adult. And y'all, I have realized, I'm just going to say this, but I'm in my 40s, so I listen, I'm grown. I like a little bit of spice. I don't like it super. I don't want it like the plot is spice, but I like, particularly if there's like a lot of tension and a lot of build up and a lot of like, angst and yearning and whatever, because I love a good yearn, right? And one of the words I learned this summer from watching Bridgerton is yearnalism. Okay, I like, let's get back to yearnalism. Like, I want the men to be yearning for the women. Okay. So if there's some build up and then they finally come together and it moves the story along, I'm with it. I'm not necessarily here for like straight, just straight spice, 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 but tastefully placed in the story to move the storyline along. I am with that. So with that being said, Happy New Year. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Peace.